Hey everyone, my name is Jake. I'm 26 years old, and I'm from Brazil. But let me tell you something shocking. Only 5 months ago, I couldn't speak a single full sentence in English. Not even a simple, "How are you?" without freezing, overthinking, and feeling completely lost. Today, I want to tell you how I learned English in just 5 months, with no expensive classes, no teachers, no language schools, no trips to an English-speaking country, nothing. Just the right method. But before I tell you how I did it, I want you to know something important. This is not just my story. This is your story, too. If you've ever felt stuck, embarrassed, frustrated, or hopeless because of your English, keep listening, because I was exactly where you are. To understand how I changed everything, you need to hear where it all began. I always dreamed of working for an international company. My dream job was to be a software engineer at a big tech company. I loved coding. I worked for years to become the best I could. And finally, it happened. I got the chance of a lifetime. I applied for a huge company in the US. One morning, I opened my email and saw the message every candidate dreams about. Congratulations, you are selected for an interview. I was so excited. I imagined myself living in a new country, earning a great salary, working with top engineers. My dream was finally starting. Then, the interview happened. I will never forget that day. I opened Zoom, and 3 interviewers were waiting for me. All native English speakers. They started talking, and it felt like someone hit the fast-forward button on their voices. I couldn't understand anything. My brain froze. The first question came. Jake, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your experience in software development? The answer was in my head, but the words wouldn't come out. I panicked. I mumbled, yes, I am software. I do coding, many projects. Good. I am very good. Silence. They looked at me politely, but I knew. I had failed. Not because I wasn't good enough, but because I couldn't speak English. At the end, one interviewer smiled and said, "All right, Jake, thank you for your time." I knew what that meant. That day, I understood something painful but powerful. English wasn't just a language, it was the key to my dream life. And I didn't have that key. I felt embarrassed, angry, ashamed. For years I told myself I didn't need English, that being good at my job was enough. But I was wrong. Without English, I was invisible. That night I made a decision. I will learn English, and I will learn it fast. Not someday, not later, right now. Why I didn't start with expensive classes. Most people, when they start learning English, immediately pay for expensive courses. I didn't. Why? Because I had already tried them before, and they didn't work. A year earlier, I took an online English class. The teacher made me memorize vocabulary lists, study grammar rules, and do boring exercises. But after 3 months, when I finally spoke to a real person, I still couldn't speak. So I knew something clearly. If I wanted fast results, I needed a method that worked in real life. Not in a classroom. That's when I created the system that changed everything. My 5-month English method, and it all started with the first 15 days. Part 1, The first 15 days. Beginners make one huge mistake. They think they need more words to speak fluently. I thought the same. I believed if I learned 1,000 words, I would magically become fluent. But the truth was, I already knew hundreds of words and still couldn't speak. So for the first 15 days, I did not learn a single new word. Instead, I did something far more powerful. I learned how to use the words I already knew. Here's exactly what I did. 1. I made a survival sentences list. I sat down and wrote 50 simple sentences I needed in real life. Sentences like, "Hi, how are you? Can you repeat that? I don't understand. I'm learning English. I need a coffee, please." Every morning I read these 50 sentences out loud 10 times. At first my tongue felt slow, but after 5 days, these sentences became automatic. 2. I spoke to myself every day. This was one of the most powerful things I did. Whenever I was alone, I spoke to myself in English. In the shower, "I am taking a shower. The water is hot." Making breakfast. "I'm making eggs. I like eggs. They're easy to cook." It felt stupid at first, until it became my private classroom. 3. I copied native speakers exactly. Every day I chose 5 sentences from movies or YouTube, but I didn't just read them. I copied them, same tone, same speed, same emotion. This fixed my pronunciation and made me sound natural. After 15 days, my brain changed. I stopped translating. I could speak simple sentences automatically. But this was only the beginning. Whenever you're ready, I'll give you part 2, the real practice that transformed my speaking speed and fluency. Welcome back. If you're listening to this, it means you finished part 1. And that tells me something important about you. You're serious, you're committed, you actually want to change. Because the truth is, most people quit after the first week. But not you. So now, let me take you to the part of my journey where everything accelerated. The next 30 days. These 30 days turned my broken English into real communication. This was the moment my confidence finally started to rise. The 30-day speaking explosion. When I reached day 16, something hit me. If I wanted to speak English fast, I needed to actually speak. A lot. Every single day. Not study, not memorize, not watch videos. Speak. So I created the rule that changed everything. The 1 hour of real speaking rule. Every day, for 30 days straight, I forced myself to speak English for 1 hour. Not reading, not listening, not writing, speaking with my mouth. Out loud. At first, it was a disaster. I made mistakes every 5 seconds. I forgot simple words. I mixed verbs. I sounded slow. I felt stupid. But that hour, that one painful hour, was the most important hour of my day. Because with every mistake, my brain was learning. With every sentence, my mouth became faster. With every day, I became more confident. How I practiced speaking. Without a teacher. People always ask me, "Jake, who did you practice with?" The answer, myself. Here are the exact methods I used during that 1 hour. 1. The daily story technique. Every day, I told a story in English, out loud. It could be what happened that morning, a childhood memory, a funny situation, a dream I had, something I learned. I didn't worry about being perfect. I just talked. This trained me to form long sentences without stopping. 2. The shadowing method. This was powerful. I chose a 2 to 3 minute clip from YouTube interviews, movies, podcasts, stand-up comedy. Then I copied the speaker in real time. Same speed, same rhythm, same emotion. Shadowing taught me natural pronunciation, native rhythm, real-world speaking patterns. After 30 days, I started sounding more natural. Not perfect, but real. 3. The fast mouth training trick. This one is intense. I took simple sentences like, "I want to go. I need to finish this. I don't know why. That's not a good idea." And I repeated them fast. 20, 30, sometimes 50 times. Why? Because fluency is not just vocabulary. Fluency is mouth speed. Your tongue needs training. Your mouth needs repetition. This method made my speaking faster and smoother. Something surprising happened. Around day 30, something strange started happening. When I spoke English, I felt like a different person, more confident, more expressive, more open. It was like English unlocked a version of me that didn't exist before. And people noticed it too. I remember talking to a friend on a video call. After 5 minutes, he said, "Bro, your English is different. You sound natural." That moment felt like winning a gold medal. But I didn't stop. Because the next phase was coming. And that phase was the one that made me truly fluent. After these 30 days, speaking became a daily habit, not a struggle. I still made mistakes, but now I could communicate. I could express myself. I could think faster. In the next part, I'll tell you how I moved from good to fluent. The advanced stage where I finally passed real interviews and changed my life forever. After months of pushing myself, listening, repeating, speaking, shadowing, something inside me finally shifted, and I still remember the exact moment it happened. One morning, I stood in front of the mirror, doing what I had done hundreds of times before, speaking to myself in English. But this time, something was different. For the first time ever, the words didn't feel heavy. They didn't feel forced. I wasn't hesitating. I wasn't translating in my head. The sentences flowed out of me naturally, smoothly, confidently. It felt like magic. But I knew it wasn't magic. It was the result of months of effort, frustration, discipline, and consistency. That same day, I decided to put myself to the test. I joined an online meeting where people from all over the world gathered to discuss different topics in English. At first, my hands were shaking, my heart was racing. A small voice inside my head whispered, "What if they don't understand you?" But then another voice said, "You've come too far to doubt yourself now." And so I spoke. And the words came out clearly, naturally, confidently. I didn't search for vocabulary. I didn't panic. I didn't freeze. I understood what everyone was saying, and they understood me too. People listened. They nodded. They even asked me questions. It was an unbelievable moment. Because that was the day I realized I was finally fluent. 5 months after starting my journey, I reapplied for my dream job. But this time I wasn't the same Jake. I wasn't the nervous guy who could barely form a sentence. I wasn't the candidate who felt small, invisible, or unprepared. This time I walked into the interview room with confidence. I sat in front of the interviewer, not as someone who feared English, but as someone who had mastered it. I spoke clearly. I answered every question with ease. I didn't just speak English, I owned it. I saw the look on their faces. They weren't just impressed by my English. They were impressed by my effort, my transformation, the fact that I didn't give up. A few days later, I received the call that changed everything. "Jake, congratulations, you got the job." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My dream job. The same company that rejected me before. Wanted me now. My starting salary, $5,000 a month. More than I ever imagined earning. I stood there holding my phone, tears in my eyes, hands shaking. The first thing I did was call my parents. "Mom, Dad, I did it." My mother started crying. My father, who rarely shows emotion, simply said, "We always knew you could." In that moment, I realized something powerful. I wasn't just doing this for myself, I was doing it for them too. With my first salary, I bought my father a beautiful watch, something he always wanted but never bought for himself. For my mother, I bought a gold necklace. She sacrificed so much for our family. And now, it was my turn to give back. At first, they refused. "We don't need anything, son." But I shook my head and said, "This is my way of saying thank you for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself." And in that moment, everything, the long nights, the frustration, the hard work, felt worth it. Now that you've heard my story, I want to share the most important lessons I learned. Because these lessons weren't just the reason I became fluent, they were the reason my entire life changed. And if you follow them, your life can change too. Lesson 1. Mindset is everything. Most people fail to learn English because they believe they can't. I used to think the same way. I kept telling myself things like, "I'm not good at English. I'll never speak fluently. It's too difficult." But the moment I changed my mindset, everything else changed with it. I started telling myself, English is not difficult. I can learn it just like any other skill. I am improving every single day. Because here's the truth. If you believe you can't, you won't. But if you believe you can, you'll always find a way. Lesson 2. Surround yourself with English. I made English a part of my daily life. I changed my phone language. I watched only English videos. I listened to English songs. I followed English-speaking creators online. Every single day, I fed my brain with English. Whenever I looked at something, a car, a cup, a chair, I said the name out loud. If I saw someone walking their dog, I said in English, "That woman is walking her dog. The dog looks excited." These small things, they added up. They helped me build vocabulary without memorization. Lesson 3. Speak without fear. This is what stops almost everyone. People are terrified of making mistakes. I know because I was one of them. But one day I realized something powerful. Native speakers don't care if you make mistakes. They appreciate your effort. So I forced myself to speak. I talked to shopkeepers in English. I asked strangers questions in English. I spoke to myself when no one else was around. The more I spoke, the better I became. The better I became, the more confident I felt. Lesson 4. Active listening and shadowing. Listening is just as important as speaking. I trained my ears by listening to podcasts, audiobooks, interviews, English conversations. But I didn't just listen passively. I used shadowing, one of the most powerful techniques I ever discovered. Shadowing means you listen to a sentence. You repeat it immediately. You copy the rhythm, tone, and pronunciation. This simple practice transformed my accent and fluency. Lesson 5. Learn vocabulary smartly. I used to memorize long lists of words. It didn't work. So I changed my approach. Instead of learning single words, I learned phrases. Not just happy, but I feel so happy today. That movie made me happy. I'm really happy with the results. Learning in context made every new word easier to remember and easier to use. Lesson 6. Learn grammar naturally. I didn't sit with grammar books for hours. Instead, I learned grammar the natural way, by listening and speaking. When I made a mistake and someone corrected me, I wrote it down. For example, I used to say, "He go to school," but the correct sentence is, "He goes to school." That's how grammar becomes natural, not by memorizing rules, but by using the language every day. Lesson 7. Consistency beats perfection. Some people want to be perfect before they start speaking. That's a huge mistake. I wasn't perfect. I made mistakes every day. But I kept going. Some days I practiced for 10 minutes. Some days I practiced for 2 hours. Some days I only listened to a short podcast. But I never skipped a day, because consistency is the key. You don't need expensive classes. You don't need to travel abroad. You don't need the perfect method. You just need a strong desire and the discipline to practice every day. Now that you've heard my entire journey, I want to speak directly to you. Yes, you who are listening right now. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. Learning English is not just about vocabulary or grammar. It's about changing your life. And I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, speaking English fluently, confidently, naturally. Imagine understanding movies without subtitles. Imagine traveling without fear. Imagine getting a better job, new opportunities, new connections. Imagine how proud you will feel. Because, trust me, that future version of you, they exist, and they're waiting for you to begin. I want to tell you something from my heart. If I could do it, you can do it too. It doesn't matter where you are starting. It doesn't matter how many times you tried. It doesn't matter if you think your English is bad. What matters is that you start today, not tomorrow, not next week, not one day. Today, right now. I know it's hard. I know it feels impossible sometimes. I know you might feel frustrated, embarrassed, or stuck. But listen carefully. The only thing standing between you and fluency is consistency, not talent, not luck, not money, not living in an English-speaking country. Just consistency. Stop doubting yourself. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Surround yourself with English. Speak every day, even if it's just to yourself. Listen. Read, practice, make mistakes, learn from them. Because here's the truth that changed my life. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. So which one will you choose? Choose discipline. Choose growth. Choose success. Choose the future you want. Your English journey starts now, and I'll be with you every step of the way. If this story inspired you, make sure to like the video and subscribe because we're on this journey together. Let's do this. Let's change your life. Let's become fluent.